This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 287.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology. Why, hello everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have one WordCamp next week, WordCamp Mexico City, which is on August 31st. And also upcoming still is my WordPress Essentials course, which will be September 18th. It lasts 3 weeks, webinar format. Registration is now open. You should take it. If you're interested in learning more about WordPress or know somebody who is, it's affordable, it's awesome, and I think you'll have a good time. Hope you'll be there in class over at wpe.kitchensinkwp.com. wpe.kitchensinkwp.com. Okay, moving on. In segment 1, in the news, one thing to talk about, WordPress 5.3 is now on the calendar as far as being released. The general release date is looking at November 12th, with the release candidate October 15th, and the first beta being September 23rd. So like just over, just about a month away for the beta from when I'm recording this. So there you go. Check that out. Be a link in the show notes there as well, what's being addressed. And there's a lot of open items on that I saw this morning when I saw that. So, all right, moving on. Segment 2, the meat and potatoes of this week's show. So I've had a conversation recently with a friend, as I often speak to people daily, and he's frustrated, and because his frustration came to the frontal lobes of our brains, as I mentioned that I've now been in North Carolina for 2 years. And he's not frustrated that I'm here. He's frustrated that when I made my pivot to move here, he also had a pivot in his life, work-wise, and he feels like he hasn't had much progress in his professional life, that he's not successful. And we got to thinking and talking about, well, what is the definition of success in regards to running your own business and that type of thing? And how do we gauge that? How do we measure the progress? And how do we measure it in a business setting specifically? Okay, so here are 5 things you might want to consider when you want to measure your successful business profession in that part of your life. So, it's interesting here. So take a listen on this. First and foremost, look at your business financial statements. Okay, so as I've shared on the show in the past, I was never great about tracking my expenses or income or expenses. And now I'm actually up to date month to month for 2019. I am up to date for my main company. And it's awesome. So I can really see much easier where things are at. I month to month, I know where I'm at. I know if I've made money or lost money. And I'm not super successful, it varies, right? But I can see it. So look at it and pay attention because the numbers don't lie, unless you are fudging them in your head or making up your own spreadsheets. But if you look at your statements and you say, hey, this is what I have, this is what's coming in and going out from the business only, not your personal life, let's say, it won't lie to you, okay? Also, check out how many new customers you get, and what do they cost to acquire? There's that cost of acquisition to land a new client. If you're spending too much to get a client that's not worth it, maybe it's time to reevaluate how you get that client or the clients you're taking, or maybe time to raise your prices there. So how many customers are you getting? Where are they coming from? And what do they cost to acquire? Something to really consider. That's another way to measure success in the business setting. Okay. One other thing here, well, there's 5 total. Number 3 is check with customer satisfaction. So you want to ask your customers and your clients, are you happy? So to ask them to take a survey, ask questions, and fix things that might be broken that you're just unaware of. And be honest and open to the fact that you may not get some glowing reviews. It's inevitable that it may actually happen. Okay. On a staffing side of things, number 4, conduct performance reviews. So if you have a staff, you want to review the performance. You want to give them feedback as well because you want your staff to be to gauge where they're at in the business, in the model of growth as a company, right? If you don't have a staff, then I guess you don't need to worry about this. If your staff are contractors, I think official performance reviews may be overkill, but I think having honest feedback about expectations, timelines, deadlines, communication styles is good enough. So as a review, or you might need to cut bait. You might want to just maybe not send more work to that contractor or just find a replacement, but be honest with them and yourself and work that out as a team because otherwise it's not going to do very well moving forward. Okay. But it's a way to track success and progress. Okay. And number 5, you want to assess your own expectations. Now, this gets a little woo-woo, but what do you really want for your life, in your business? Do you want money? Do you want things? Do you want to be able to take the money and buy houses and cars and planes? Do you want a company that employs 5 or 50 or 500 people? So my recommendation here is to unplug. Take a walk, no devices with you. If you want to take a pen and paper, that's fine, a little pad. But that way you can write things down and just take time, give yourself that space and that margin to figure out what is it that you want for your own company. Because those things are all different for everybody. Having a company that employs 5 people versus 500 is a much different thing. But then you can, if you know what you want and you can have a goal to get there, you can track the progress on that as well. And then that might be successful to you. So it's going to be different for everybody. And keep in mind that your definition of success can and will change. I spoke to another friend of mine at a co-working space recently about this topic, about this podcast episode. And it was interesting to see how his gauge is different than mine. And I completely attribute that to the fact that he is 17 years younger than me. His life is, just starting from the fact that he's going to become a parent literally like in 3 months from now, whereas my kids are teens. One's off in college now. He has a lot more time to take more risk in theory than I do, or I might be willing to. So his definition of success is different than mine based on stages of life, and keep that in mind. And then also, as a bonus here, don't compare your success with someone else's, because there's a saying, I believe I might mess this up, about you see the highlights. When you see stuff on social media, you're seeing the highlights. You're not seeing everything else below the surface. So there you go. Again, number 1, look at your business financial statements. Number 2, average how many new customers you get, what do they cost to acquire. Ask feedback from customers for satisfaction. Conduct performance reviews if you have employees, and really assess your own expectations. Okay, so take the time, know what it is that you want, what's your definition of success, hard to say, and it's okay that, it's the journey to get there as well. It's not gonna, it's like I said, it's a little woo-woo on one aspect, but I think the honest truth here is know what it is that you want your definition to be, and then stick to that and be okay with that could change. So to my friend who is frustrated, I see him as successful, just in a different way. He left one situation, joined a different one. It may not be the end all for right now, but it's only for right now. It's not forever. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. So moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip, it's a website called WiseMapping.com. This was sent in, actually suggested to me by my friend Elisa. Thank you. It is mind mapping. It's free. I haven't used it just yet, but I do like the idea of mind mapping. I've done it in the past. I've tested lots of other pieces of software. I'm going to check this out as well. It looks like there's a free level, and WiseMapping.com. Check it out if you're into mind mapping. So there you have it. That's this week's episode. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use the SpeakPipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, you can do that by becoming a Patreon. You can sponsor the show as well, form on the website. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye. P.S. If you're still listening to this, the day this comes out is my lovely wife's birthday. So happy birthday to my lovely wife. Okay, bye.